What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to World According to Briggs. Did you know I get emails? I do. Every single day, I get emails from subscribers or just people that watch my videos. Most of the time, I'm happy to receive those emails because they're nice and people just have questions. Great. Occasionally, I get some I don't want, and I get some from people that I guess are a little confused. Like the one I got a couple weeks ago from a man named Ned in Tennessee. Ned wrote, "Briggs, I'm tired of you keeping the truth from the people." Apparently, he's an activist at this point, the people. "I have never once heard you mention how Tennessee has almost 1 million Californians moving into my state every single year. They're moving here to change Tennessee into the new California." Ned went on and on with different political theories and conspiracies, and basically I got to this sentence. "They won't stop me from going to church or confiscate my guns. If they keep coming, I may have to do something." Like what, Ned? Run for office? I emailed Ned back with, "Well, I have good news for you, Ned. Tennessee only gained 560,000 people in the last decade, and that's from all over the United States, not just California." I also thanked Ned for the email and sent him some links that would show that his 1 million Californians was a little inaccurate. I would have kind of engaged him with more, but I get the feeling no matter what I would have said, his mind was made up. Hopefully he could do all the research himself and, work it all out. But Ned's email got me wondering, what are the fastest growing states? I went to the US Census report and found out what states had the highest percentage of population growth from 2019-2020. I was surprised who made the list. We used the percentage instead of just the number of people that moved in because that list would just be the largest states. The percentage of population growth kind of answers the question of which state are the locals being affected by population growth. All right, that's enough of that. Let's check it out. Number 10, Montana. That's right, Montana made the list, and it isn't even a list about buying a lot of land for a really good price, which Montana has a lot of. Montana has become more and more popular in recent years because it's kind of wide open. It is the fourth largest state, but it is ranked 44th in population, with just over 1 million residents. Yeah, really, this is the fourth largest state, and it is very sparsely populated. But people have been moving there because this is a great state for remote workers. Low cost of living, low housing prices, and if you could work from home, this is a great option. Montana grew 0.98% from 2019 to 2020. That's a population increase of about 10,454 residents, taking them from 1,070,123 residents to 1,080,577 residents. And not all are from California. Only about 3,000 were from California. Number 9, Delaware. We never talk about Delaware on this channel. There just seems to be nothing ever going on in Delaware, but they've got a lot of people moving in there, so something's going on there I don't know about. I can normally tell people right off the top of my head why people are moving to a certain state. I study this stuff all the time, but cost of living isn't incredibly low. Housing prices aren't so low you get excited about them. I guess it's jobs. People are moving there for jobs. If you go visit Delaware, it's a beautiful state. Wilmington's a nightmare, but most of the state is decent, nice, beautiful, great beaches, and it's one of the least expensive states in the Northeast. Delaware is the second smallest state we have, right behind Rhode Island. They actually have less than 1 million people living in the state. From 2019 to 2020, they grew by 0.04%. It's about 10,000 residents. They went from 976,668 to 986,809 residents. About 900 were from California. Number 8, Washington State. I always have to say Washington State because for some reason if I just say Washington, I get a bunch of comments where people go Washington State or Washington DC. I think if it's Washington DC, I'm gonna say Washington DC. I think that's how most people are. But I guess there's just some people. Washington has become incredibly popular over the last decade. Jobs, no state income tax. It's great for people that like the outdoors. If you like visiting with homeless people, Seattle's a great place to live. And most people consider Washington to have the highest overall quality of life for the residents. Every year when I pay my taxes and Oregon gouges me, I think about moving to Washington. From 2019 to 2020, Washington grew by 1.05%. That's just under 80,000 residents, taking them from 7,614,000 to 7,693,000 and some change. Number 7, Florida. This one shouldn't be a surprise. Florida has been getting overrun with retirees and just about anyone for some time now. Florida's ranked 3rd in population and 22nd in size, so you can move a lot of people in there and really not notice too much. Tampa, St. Pete, Sarasota, all those places are growing at a pretty good clip. From 2019 to 2020, Florida's population grew by 1.12%, adding 478,000 and some change, taking them from 21,254,000 to 21,733,000 and some change. Number 6, South Carolina. South Carolina is a state that's starting to get a little more popular, especially Charleston, Myrtle Beach, places like that. They call this area the Low Country, sort of from Charleston down along the coast to Hilton Head. That's the Low Country, and that's becoming very popular for people looking to move to South Carolina. Bluffton is one of the best places to move to in the South, in my opinion, right now. That and Charleston. I really like Charleston. South Carolina is ranked 23rd in population and 40th in area. South Carolina's growth rate from 2019 to 2020 was 1.19%, taking their population from 5,157,000 and some change to 5,218,000 and some change. Number 5, Texas. That's right, the Lone Star State is still growing. They did all the way through the pandemic, before the pandemic, and I'm sure this trend will go for, I'd say, the next 5 to 6 years at least. There has been a little bit of a shift. The longest time, the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area was where everyone was going to. It's kind of shifted down towards Austin. Austin's growth is starting to catch up and maybe even surpass the Dallas-Fort Worth area. San Antonio's actually gaining some ground too. Texas is the 2nd largest state and the 2nd most populated state. From 2019 to 2020, Texas grew almost 1,000 people a day. They went from 28,771,000 and some change to 29,145,000 and some change. They gained almost 374,000 residents, giving them a population growth of about 1.29%. Number 4, Utah. Utah's another one that's starting to gain a little more popularity than it has in the past. I mean, it's been a move to state since, I don't know, the first wagon train pulled through. But they've been gaining more and more popularity in the last, I'd say, 5 or 6 years. I don't get it, but I guess it's a thing. Nothing to do with anything else, but it's a desert state for the most part. I know they have some mountainous areas. I like it wet and I like it green. I've just never been able to act or think rationally in a desert climate. I don't know what it's all about. But there's a lot of desert and mountain-loving people heading to Utah, especially the types that like having a lot of kids. The national average for a family is 2.1 children. In Utah, it's 3.4. So don't move there thinking you're cool because you decided to have one kid. And that's part of the reason their population growth is so high. Everyone's having so many kids there. From 2019 to 2020, Utah grew by 1.45%, taking them from 3,203,000 and some change to 3,249,000 and some change. It's a growth of about 46,000 residents. Number 3, Nevada. Now, Nevada's one of the states that's getting the most Californians. Matter of fact, half of the people moving to Nevada are coming from California. And most people that are longtime residents of Nevada aren't too keen on this. Now, if you live out in some of the areas that are outside the Las Vegas metro area, you have nothing to worry about. Nobody's moving there. And if they do move there, they're probably just trying to dodge subpoenas. The only places that are seeing any noticeable growth in Nevada is the Las Vegas metro area. That includes Henderson and all those places around there, Reno, and the Carson City area. Between 2019 and 2020, Nevada's population increased by 1.54%, taking them from little over 3,090,771 to 3,138,000 and some change. That doesn't sound like a big number, but you got to keep in mind, most of this state is vacant. Number 2, Arizona. Arizona is more and more popular as the years go on. They're another state that's catching a lot of Californians. Oddly enough, Texans are moving to Arizona at a pretty good rate too. Arizona is still affordable compared to places like California and New York or whatever, and that's what's bringing in a lot of the retirees. Arizona is like a retirement place for people that hate hurricanes. From 2019 to 2020, Arizona saw population growth of 1.78%, taking their population up about 129,000 people. They went from 7,291,000 to 7,421,000. They're ranked 14th in population and 6th in size, so it may not seem like they're getting a lot of people. It may not seem like it's getting crowded, but then when you factor in people are only moving to the Phoenix metro area, Tucson, maybe a smattering to Flagstaff and Prescott. Nobody moves to Yuma, so yeah, don't worry about that. All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day. There is a link down below. We would love it if you went over there and checked it out and maybe subscribe, watch a couple videos, learn something. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Canada. Just kidding. Idaho. If you followed the migration patterns of Californians over the years, you know Idaho is like one of the go-to stops. I know probably about 6 people that I grew up with in Southern California that now live in Idaho, and that's just the ones I know. People from Idaho have been complaining about Californians and pretty much anyone else that moves there for a very long time. They even got to the point where they don't like Oregonians moving there. And there's a bunch of Oregonians here in Oregon that are trying to get the eastern section of Oregon, and they want to give it to Idaho. They don't want to be part of Oregon anymore. It's ridiculous. I get their point, don't get me wrong. I mean, Eastern Oregon is totally different from Western Oregon. They're like 2 different countries almost. And I get their frustration. They feel like they're not represented, but you're not going to break up a state. It'll never happen. But there are a ton of people moving to Idaho from everywhere, not just California. Idaho is the 14th largest state, and they're ranked 38th in population, which that population number, I think in the next few years is going to change. They're going to pass a couple states, I think. Idaho had a population growth of 2.12% in 2019 to 2020, growing from 1.789 million and some change to 1.826 million and some change. That's a lot of people for a state as big as they are. If you do decide to move there from California or Oregon, for that matter, make sure you get some new plates for your car so you don't get run off the road or have your car spit on or keyed or anything like that. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope Ned got some information out of it. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.